Okay, now we'll hit record. All right, welcome everybody to our third Tinker Talk for the Assignment Design Cafe. We're excited today to have Ben Richards, who is the Business and Communication Librarian at Michael Schwartz Library at Cleveland State University. He's also a convener of our Digital CSU Working Group and coordinator of the Digital Design Studio, which is what brings him here today. So please join us for this presentation on the Digital Design Studio and digital literacy at CSU. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you. Kelly already kind of talked about what I do at the university. When I'm telling people what the Digital Design Studio is, I usually tell them that it's a space where students can do creative and multimedia and multimodal work. So we have a lab set up with software that students need to do that kind of work. And then there are various different parts of the Digital Design Studio and kind of housed around on the third floor with rooms that are kind of equipped to do different things. And then we have some equipment that's just out in the main area for students to use. And we also loan out a lot of equipment or gadgets for students to take home with them. So the lab itself, there's 12 PCs and 10 Macs, and they each have either the Adobe Creative Suite or Creative Cloud. And that's the software package that has Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Adobe Premiere, and Audition, and then a lot of other applications, but those are usually the main ones that students need. And there's nowhere else on campus right now that any student who's not in an arts program can access those applications. So we've been popular in that respect. And then these were a little bit more popular in the past, but I'll just mention it. All the PCs have scanners, so it's sort of a digitizing lab as well. There's a VHS digitizing PC that students can use if they ever need to. The little thing back here is a light box, so it's a way for students to take really nice 360 images of objects that will fit in basically like a 2x2 foot box, and there's really nice lighting. I realize I can't talk about everything that we have because this is a Tinker Talk. The presentation practice room. This is a room that's kind of tucked away in the back of the DDS, but it's where someone can record themselves giving a presentation in more of a classroom or lecture kind of environment versus just doing something in front of their computer and then seeing what they look like. So we sort of pitch it as a way for students to record themselves and then review what they look like doing a presentation, and kind of give themselves constructive feedback and make changes to their presentation style. But the computer is now equipped for Zoom. So if anyone ever wanted to, they could do a hybrid Zoom presentation, or they could do a fully remote Zoom presentation. But again, rather than being seated in front of a computer and doing it like the regular Zoom way, they could be in more of a classroom kind of setting, formal presentation setting. And then new this year, we have the podcast studio, which I spent a lot of time setting up, and we worked with distance learning and instructional technology to figure out what we needed to put in this room to get it working. And they also helped to fund the project. So we want to say thank you to them. But it's a 4-microphone setup with an audio interface, and the computer has both the free software Audacity as well as Adobe Audition, which is more of a professional recording and audio editing software that's included in the Creative Suite and Creative Cloud Adobe package. I'll just say it sounds really nice in there. It's not a fully dead room. It's not a treated soundstage, but it's quiet. There's some paneling on this wall that kind of deadens the reflections in there, and you can get a really nice sound. And this computer has Zoom as well, so if you were doing a Zoom interview, you at least would have a very nice recording of your voice, and then the interviewee on the other end would have a different microphone. And then in terms of equipment that we loan out, I'm not going to cover everything, but there's if you go to the Digital Design Studio webpage and you go to equipment loan, students or faculty or staff could look and see what's all available. We have DSLRs that have been really popular. There's camcorders. We do have a 360 camera that goes out. And then there's all sorts of accessories for photography and video, like lighting and that photo studio. We have a gimbal. And then there's some more like stuff that we haven't really explored yet, but that we have, and it's there waiting for someone to use, like a Cricut maker, which is a cutting machine. Where you can cut all sorts of different materials. We have Arduino kits, and we will have a Raspberry Pi kit. So anyone who's interested in computing can build devices and kind of experiment with that side of things. And what it's sort of like where we are aspirationally with the Digital Design Studio, we want to be kind of a digital makerspace. So it's not somewhere where you're going to find lasers and you won't find people cutting metal or wood or doing robotics work probably, but it would be a place where someone can come and basically learn about different technology and have access to it to use in their school projects. And then in terms of the work that we would do with faculty or staff, this is again sort of aspirational, but we would want to help faculty develop projects or assignments that they can do in their class that get students into this space, or just get them thinking about using technology or digital tools to do work in their discipline. So really just exploring, again, sort of the makerspace side of things, getting students to make things, more hands-on learning experiences in the digital sort of multimedia sense versus, actual hands-on making stuff with your hands. So that's the Digital Design Studio. Thanks, Shelley.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the overview. Let me ask you this question for those who might want to know. If an instructor wanted to incorporate more multimodal kind of digital design studio support into a classroom, do you offer like tours for classes? How would you go about that? Would you come to classes?
Yeah, we can do both. So sometimes it makes more sense, like if students are going to need cameras or if they're going to be using the podcast studio, then it makes sense for them to come in and probably have like a cart of the things that they can borrow. If they needed to see any of the like specific rooms, we would take them there. And then I can also I have a pretty developed system of packing everything on a cart and then like wheeling it over to the student center, which I've done a couple times, or just down to the first floor. So we can come to you as well. And it might be that you're doing, like I had a faculty member this semester that initially she wanted her students to create like multimedia timelines of events and related events to readings that they were doing about, if I remember correctly, it was like medical experiments on the Black community in the United States throughout time. And they're reading Henrietta Lacks. I don't remember the rest of the title. So there's all sorts of free applications that are, you don't have to borrow anything. You don't even have to come to the library or the Digital Design Studio, but it would be helping faculty kind of develop that assignment, figuring out, okay, what tools are available? What do you want your students to be making? What sort of support would they need? Are we going to come in and do a workshop on like making a timeline or using Microsoft Sway or something else? And then, yeah, just like when I do my the subject librarian visits where I talk about research in a specific discipline, I or someone else can come to a class and kind of work through like, how do you make this type of digital project? Or how do you solve this kind of multimedia problem using the tools that are available to you? Either using something that you borrow from the Digital Design Studio or just using like an app on your phone or free web applications.
Cool. Thanks. No, that's excellent information. And thanks for all your hard work and for doing our Tinker Talk so we know where to find you and what's going on with the Digital Design Studio. And we'll make this recording available so that people can see it. And I'm sure you'll have lots of traffic this year. Exciting stuff.
Hope so. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did you stop the recording? You're good.
Oh, I stopped the share. I didn't stop recording.
Stop the share.
I'm recording.